Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Shell with mlhawkinsart here. Today I am doing a Cricut craft and I'm doing a Christmas ornament. As you can see here, I'm just typing out my letters on what I want to put on the Christmas ornament. And basically I use my daughter's first name and then Christmas 2020. The font I am using is from fontbundles.net. And this was one of the free ones, and it does come with a premium license. I do want to add I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just letting you know where I got it from. But I thought this one was pretty neat, especially with the stars above the eyes. Here I am just resizing and connecting all the letters. I ungroup. The J was a little bit disconnected, so I used my arrow on the keyboard, shifted it to the right a little bit. Now I did group, which is a step you can skip because after you have everything just right, you can click weld at the bottom in between the slice and attach. And I repeat this process for the other letters and numbers. I use my keyboard shortcuts a lot. You can Control Z to undo. What I do with the Christmas is the TMAS did not connect, and so I just ungrouped it, selected those last four letters, and moved it over, double-checked everything was fine, and resized it to what I wanted. Same thing with the 2020, and the 2020, when I welded it, one of the zeros ended up with the black filling in the hole in the O, tongue twister there. And so what I did is I just hit the back button at the top, the little arrow at the top left, right next to new on the right. And I fiddled with it a little bit, just moved the letters left to right a little bit with my arrow keys on my keyboard, and I didn't do anything different. I just welded it again while it was big, and everything worked out fine. Then I go to resize it to the size I want. My bulbs for the ornaments, I do believe, were about 2.75 inches. I couldn't exactly get the exact measurement. So me personally, I just kind of eyeballed it. As you can see here, I was adjusting the zeros and everything worked out fine. Then what I'm going to do is select all, go up to align vertically, and then align or center horizontally. Make sure everything is lined up just right. This particular size I used was a pinch too big, so when I had to reprint it later on, because I did end up having to reprint this vinyl, and I'm using the premium Shimmer vinyl by Cricut. But when I had to reprint it, I went ahead and downsized it just to 2.0 in width and height, because it worked a lot better that way. Also, the little unlock button works wonders to be able to at the top by the width and height. Now, as you can see here, it did not attach, and so I'm thinking, what did I do? And I forgot to attach. So I went ahead and I did hit make it, but I can always hit cancel. So I went ahead and clicked cancel, went back, attached the letters together. That way they cut the way I want them to cut out, because I don't want to cut separate pieces. I want it to all be attached and do the vinyl, all in one piece. It's a lot easier to put on the bulb that way, especially working on a round surface. And again, I did have to redo this. So everything looked good. I went to confirm here in a moment. I was just double checking, making sure it was where it was centered. I was also getting my vinyl at that moment, which is why the cursor isn't moving. You do not have to mirror vinyl, at least not regular vinyl, HTV, however you do. So always remember, ladies and gents, mirror if you're using HTV. I have made that mistake on 1 or 2 occasions, and it is not fun. But you hit continue. Here I'm going to browse all materials, type in Shimmer, which brings up my options in the search, and I pick the premium Shimmer vinyl. And then I send it to my Cricut to print. I did not video that. And I leave, on this time around, I left it on default, but my blade was kind of getting dull, so I ended up, when I had to recut it, I'm sorry, I ended up, amongst sizing it, I also put more pressure to cut, and the vinyl weeded a lot better. Here I am using the Polycrylic, worked wonders, and I'm using a little syringe I actually got with my epoxy kit. And when I was done with the polycrylic, I went ahead and washed out the syringe so that way it wouldn't dry and seal up so I could reuse it later on. I got a bigger can of polycrylic than what I initially intended, but it's going to last me a while. But as you can see, I'm just rotating the ball. I was doing it slowly. I have this video sped up, so you do want to do it kind of slowly, making sure it's getting down to the tip. And I let it drain for probably about 5 minutes in that cup. That way, you know, it had time to semi-dry. You want it a little dry, but not too dry. You just want it sticky. And I'm using the glitter I bought from Walmart, just a plain white. And here I am just going to place paper down, tap it into the bulb, and then move it around in there to coat everything. And this paper will come in handy because then you can just funnel it back into your, and I use an alcohol pad to get any excess polycrylic and the glitter on the outside off. And then I just let it sit upside down to kind of cure. Here I am folding the paper, putting it back in. I unfortunately bumped it and spilled a little bit, but that's okay. As you can see, I just swipe down back onto the paper and dump the rest in. I will be working to adjust my camera angle. This was the first time I recorded on this particular desk. I usually do fan art, which you can check out those videos as well. And I have it set up on my second desk. But here I'm getting the Cricut transfer tape, cutting it to size. Originally, I did the regular Cricut transfer tape, which I hadn't thought about, and as you're going to see, I had a pill of a time trying to get it off, get the vinyl off onto it. So I sit here and fiddle with it for a little bit, the stars especially and other letters. As you can see, I'm varnishing with my little scraper. I really need to invest in a bigger one, but for now, the little one I got with my original kit works perfectly fine. But as you can see, I'm having a hard time. You want to kind of flatten it and roll back, but it just was not wanting to work with me. So after a few more attempts here, because you also want to try and varnish the back, not just the front, but the back of the vinyl too, to see. Sometimes that'll help. You see I'm using my other Cricut tool to try and get the letters to stick down. It just wouldn't work, so I ended up cutting out the strong transfer. Now, keeping in mind, I thought, okay, it's shimmer, not quite glitter, so I didn't think I'd need the strong purple transfer tape. But it turned out I did, and it worked a lot better. I still had a little bit of trouble with the stars, but the strong grip definitely worked a lot better with the shimmer vinyl, in my opinion. Here, as you can see, varnishing front to back, and it definitely did not take me as long to get the get it off. And actually, I didn't even have any trouble with the stars, which was nice. So here, this first attempt, this was the first printout I did. I grabbed a not paper towel. I grabbed a hand towel. As you can see, I am also cutting slits. That does work. I didn't do it the first time I tried this last year, but I've watched many videos since, and this trick, cutting kind of in between the letters, you want to make sure you don't snip the letters, which I have done. But snipping it kind of helps when you go, and I start from the center and work my way out. And at first it was going on pretty good, especially with the slits in there, but unfortunately, it just was not coming up the way I wanted it to. And when I tried to adjust a few of the letters, it just was not working. So what I end up doing, like I said, I also resized it down from the 2.5 to just 2.0 height and width. Um, but you'll see here I end up just taking the whole thing off. And then when I come back later in the video, I actually just watched a video that night, and they were using a roll of tape. I actually used my electrical tape because it happened to be a little bit smaller for this. I have on my little cart packing tape, masking tape, and electrical tape. The electrical tape worked really well for this. And I still had some issues the second go around, but it definitely went a lot better. I was able to get the stars to stick, because that was also the major problem with this, is for whatever reason I just could not get the stars to stick. But it was definitely a fun little project. I've only done one of these this year so far, and but I plan on doing my other kids' names, and I probably will do. This was the second go around with this. You can even kind of tell that the lettering's slightly smaller, and I do think that helped as well. And like I said, cutting the slits around the lettering to help, because cutting the slits around, it definitely helps maneuver the lettering. It didn't come out 100% perfect. I did kind of crimp up the C closer to the J than I intended, as you can see there, but it definitely, the transfer tape is crimping up, but everything else flattened out beautifully. Now, the other thing I want to note, I technically do not think you need to do this part, but I did, just from what a few of the other videos I watched people said. But I went ahead and left the bulb to dry overnight, not exactly 24 hours, but I left it to dry overnight before I did the next step after removing this transfer tape. So the next part is actually the very next day when I go to put on the topper loop thing. I'm not exactly sure what that's called. But when I went to do that, that was the next day. I let it just dry overnight before putting that in there. And the rest of it's pretty simple. All I did was I got some string. I went ahead and picked some red string. Yeah, this was the next day when I was doing all this. Put that in there, got it secure. One of the little metal bits folded inward, but that's the string I got from Walmart. Pretty easy to work with. And here I am just tying on the string. It took me a couple of attempts because I hadn't tied the string just right, and the first piece was a little short. But again, I did enjoy doing this project. I plan on making more bulbs for my kids for this year, and it was definitely quite an experience. If you have any questions or concerns, or would like to see me do more of these, please comment below. And yeah, I'm definitely getting the hang of this. And please don't hesitate to ask any questions. I am happy to answer any I can. Please like, share, and subscribe. And hope to see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Blessed be. Happy crafting.